Solar PVcast by Shift, a podcast exploring solar energy and the role it plays in improving our lives and our planet. Here's your host, Chris Palliser.
Yes, it is Chris. Welcome to the Solar PVcast. It is brought to you by Shift. For all your solar and energy storage needs, make sure to visit shift.ca. Now, when you're making any big purchase, especially solar, you want to make sure you're doing your research. You want to look at the Google reviews and you want to talk to people, kind of see what it really is like to live a year with solar. Well, you're in luck. On this episode of the podcast, we are talking to Jeff Shields, who has done exactly that. It's almost his 1-year anniversary on living with solar. Jeff, welcome to the PV podcast.
Thanks, Chris. Glad to be here.
So just before we dive into this 1 year living with powered from the sun, give us the layout on the system. What does it look like? What's the size, if you could?
We've got 20 panels on our garage roof, east and west slopes. That was the only place we could put them. We've got 10 on each side. It's a 9,000 watt system, so it qualified for the full grant. And the layout works pretty good. I was curious how it would actually perform over the last year. We were really optimistic going into the year and exceeded our wildest expectations.
Ooh, I like that. All right. I like that tease. Okay, so you said 9,000 or 9 kilowatt system, east and west, which is great because, 20, 30 years ago, they were only doing south facing.
Yeah.
So it's wonderful to hear that you've had some success with east and west facing panels. No battery storage, is that right?
No battery storage. We're
Okay.
doing DC hydro net metering.
Perfect.
And that looks like it's the numbers are really good. Now that we've had a year under our belt and working out, it's working out even better than we anticipated. So
Amazing. Did you use the Greener Homes program? You mentioned the rebate.
I did. I used the Greener Homes program both for the grant and for the loan. And I got a little bit of a shock on that, but it was a good shock.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just for those, sorry, Jeff, just for those watching and listening, the Greener Homes program is a federal program. You can get up to $5,600 back in the rebate to cover your energy audit and a $5,000 rebate. And then also you have access to an up to $40,000, 0% interest, 10-year payback loan to cover the cost of your solar install. So now that we're all on the same page there, tell us about the shock.
Well, I assumed that when we submitted the paperwork that the grant would reduce the loan amount. So in other words, we were looking at about $24,000 for the install plus $600 for the audit, pre-audit, and then $300 for the post-audit. So I figured, well, they'd do the $24,000 minus the $5,000 grant for the solar. Well, no, they gave us the full $24,000 for the loan plus the $5,000 grant.
Oh, okay. So you got the $24,000 on this 10-year 0% interest loan, and you got $5,600 in your pocket.
Right.
Did you go anywhere? Did you go on a trip?
No. We have been. We just got back from Phoenix a week ago, but
amazing.
That had nothing to do with that. One had nothing to do with the other. A lot of solar in Phoenix, boy.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, we put the $5,600 into a high yield savings account, and it's such that if the balance in the account goes up $200 every month, you get a higher interest rate, like 5 times what it normally is. So it's generating some decent there. And so what we're doing is every month we're sort of using that. We dump a little bit in and we take a little bit out of that account. So it's going to cover the first 42 months of payments.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. So no money out of pocket for 42 months, really. We're saving, our savings were better than we thought. We thought we'd be saving about $100 a month on our electric bill. We were on an equal billing of $164, and we thought we'd save $100 and we'd have about a $60 a month payout. Well, no. it worked out to about $140 saving.
Wow. So you're in BC, so your hydro bill is down to $20-30 a month.
Well, here's what happened. Because we were on the equal billing, our first bill had a credit because we'd been paying equal billing. So they had to do that. So they gave us a credit. And because it was a late September install, we didn't have a lot in the bank. But anyway, I made some notes.
Oh, great.
So, including the bill for this last billing period that ends tomorrow, and I know what the bill is going to be because I've got credit.
Okay.
I've got in the bank stuff. Our total bill for the last year went from $1,968 for the year to $420.
Wow.
So
you got that $5,600 in the bank. You got those savings. You are truly saving with solar.
Yeah. So we thought, and the plan called for generating about 9,000 kilowatt hours over the course of a year.
Right. Okay.
We actually generated, and I like using the megawatts here because it was 10.2 megawatt hours. And to put that in perspective for people who don't like to do those types of calculations, that was the equivalent of 100,000 100-watt light bulbs burning for 1 year, or for 1 hour. So 100,000 100-watt bulbs, incandescent bulbs. We have all LEDs, so that's multiply that by 4.
Right.
So pretty cool. The other interesting thing is the stats. And in the last year, the amount of CO2 saved if it had been generated with natural gas or whatever was equivalent of planting 120 mature trees. That's just for the last year.
Wow.
And every year going forward.
That's incredible. How does it feel that you yourself and your wife have shrunken your footprint, if you will, your eco footprint that much?
Well, the really cool thing with the solar is we also have a plug-in hybrid car. So just to give you an idea, we charge the car pretty much using solar, but with net metering, it really didn't matter. I thought we were going to have to adjust our lifestyle. I was wrong. Didn't have to adjust anything because of the way the net metering works.
Right.
So that took a couple months to sort get through my brain. But so I filled up on August the 4th, coming back and filled up in Kamloops.
Okay.
My next fill up on the car was on the 4th of October.
Wow. And
I went 2,000 kilometers on a single tank of gas, and it's a 41-liter tank.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, so I averaged 0.7 liters per 100 kilometers.
You say that to somebody, they would say that's impossible. How? Well, this is how.
Yeah. So basically charging the car was essentially free. And then we were still dumping. So going into the winter, I have 3,500 kilowatt hours stored for winter use. That's going to cover our November, December, and January bills completely.
Wow. And in February, I mean, the last few Februaries on Vancouver Island have been pretty sunny and dry. So maybe you're going to get all the way through.
Yeah. So I'm expecting for February, March, and April, I will have a $160 bill.
For all three?
For all three.
And then you're right back to producing that energy again, and you're covered.
Storing energy for the next winter.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're getting close to 100% offset.
Pretty close. Because we do have electric baseboard heating and the electric car and the infrared sauna and electric water heater, electric dryer. We generated 10 megawatts. We got 3, so we used 7. Plus, I had an inflow of 2, 4. I still had an inflow from BC Hydro of about 4,000 kilowatt hours.
Right.
So that was my $420.
Right. Oh,
but
right.
I'm not
of course, as you said.
Anything for the for level 2 billing.
Yeah.
So I don't have any
Yeah,
of the
of
14
course.
cents or 14 and a half cents billing at
You're
all.
sticking to that 10 cents, around 10 cents.
Yeah, so I'm paying a little less than 10 cents for
Yeah.
what I use. For the
And
whole
what's amazing is in now 9 years, when you've paid that loan off, I mean, it's all gravy.
Well, at 2, here's, so we were in the black from day one, because when you add solar to a house, I'm a former real estate agent. I used to be with Remax. When you add solar, for every watt that you add to the house, you add $3 to the value. So we added 9,000 watts
So
of
there's
power,
$36,000.
27,000.
Sorry, yeah. Appreciate that. I am not in math.
I am.
Yeah.
So 27,000 there, plus the $5,600 on the grant.
Yeah.
Now we're into the 33,000 roughly.
And you said the system was 24, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Brilliant.
we're in the black right off the bat.
Yeah.
Plus we're saving $1,500 a year, assuming no price increases. So there's another 15 grand.
Yeah.
Into the black. Plus we took the $20,000 that we would have actually spent if we didn't get the loan.
Right.
Put that into high yield dividend stocks. So that's generating about $1,400 a year on top
Right.
of that.
Yeah.
So there's, over the 10 years is another 14 grand. And that
Right.
doesn't include the stock market crapped out for the last couple of weeks, but our dividends are still rolling in. That
Right.
isn't affected. As long as we're not selling those stocks, I don't care what the market's doing.
Right.
We're still getting our monthly dividend. So
incredible.
I figure
win so far.
Yeah. So roughly speaking, at the end of the lifespan of these panels, which is 25 to 30 years, we're going to be in the black over 100 grand.
Wow. Where would you have been 25 years from now when those utility rates are going through the roof?
It's probably going to be compost.
We're not going to talk about that. But heck, you're gonna have a great 25 years until then, at least.
Yeah. And we're over the moon with how this has all worked out.
How has it been chatting with friends about it? People asking you questions and over the last year.
We had people while the guys were doing the install a year ago who would walk by and they had rubberneck and then a couple of them came by and started asking questions once we had the install done. And they know we've had the plug-in hybrid for 5 years, and so they stop and ask questions. But I've fired through several referrals to you guys.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah, so people want to do it, and a fellow around the street he bought a Ford Maverick electric truck. He loves that. It's a hybrid.
Hybrid, yeah.
When he says it's not a plug-in, but I still want to do the solar panel, so he's pursuing that. And
what about I'm just thinking of the question somebody might have. They're listening, they're watching the podcast right now. Jeff Shields, living with solar for the last year, is on the show. What about maintenance? That's a question a lot of people want to know. Is what's the maintenance like?
Well, none. So last December we had about a 4 or 5 inch dump of snow, and I'm looking at the graphs, and it's flatlined, like at zero.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And I'm going, well, you know what? So I ordered a roof broom, 24 foot handle with a silicone brush to pull the snow off. Damn near killed myself.
Yeah, I was going to say, we don't recommend that.
I grabbed the snow and it just slid right down.
Right.
And I almost got hit with an avalanche off the roof. If it had hit me, I would have been hurt bad.
Oh boy.
So then I'm I look at it and I spent $65 for this, just for the handle.
Right.
So I start looking at that, and I'm looking at the fort, and then the snow melted anyway, right?
Yeah.
After about 5 days.
Yeah.
And I looked at what the power consumption on the perfect day before, because it was totally sunny, and the perfect day immediately following, when the snow had melted off. And in that 5 days, I produced about 7 kilowatt hours. So 70 cents.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm looking at like 35, 40 years to pay for the broom.
Right.
So I'm not doing that anymore.
Perfect. It's funny you say that because a lot of people ask the question. They say, well, what about the snow? And we just say, look, we don't recommend clearing it. It's going to melt a little faster on those panels.
Yeah.
And it's not worth your safety, and financially, it's just not worth it. So it's amazing to hear that, firsthand experience. Thank goodness you're still with us and you didn't get buried in snow.
Yeah. So we do have a canopy on the back patio that's got polycarbonate panels, and it doesn't like the snow because they start to sag. So I'm using the broom handle for that. So it's not a total waste.
Oh, okay. There you go. Perfect.
I'm not going to worry about the solar panels anymore.
Awesome.
And
what about power outages? Did that happen? Did you experience
we
that
had
with
one
solar?
power outage for an hour because all our lines in this area are all underground.
Oh, okay.
And the reason we had a power failure was a transformer on the same loop on our underground wiring blew.
Got it. And the system did what it's supposed to do. Just for those listening, you can't live off solar, of course, because you are tied to the grid. So it just shut down. And
it just shut down. So we were like everybody else.
Yeah.
But we have natural gas stoves,
okay,
and natural gas fireplace. So it didn't matter. Of course, it was the middle of summer, so it was the heat that blew the transformer. There wasn't so we lost our little portable air conditioner for a couple.
Okay. Gotcha.
So interesting that when we did the energy audit, they put the fan on it to check. Our house actually is 30 years old, and it beat current infiltration standards.
Oh, wow.
So because we put new windows in and we've done some other stuff on the house prior to the solar panels. So he says your rating is I think we were 0.3 cubic feet of infiltration, and the standard for new homes is 0.5.
Oh, you're already winning.
Yeah, so the house is really tight. So even I've got programmable thermostats. They run in the early morning and late evening, and that's it.
And that's a great point you bring up, Jeff, is because one way to really stretch that production is to make sure your home is on point with insulation. Use timing on those thermostats, and you can really maximize that solar production.
Yeah. I was trying to get a hold of an energy monitor that can actually monitor every circuit in the house. And, but because of changes in the technology, they were rebuilding the unit and they were out of stock. And finally, I noticed that in August, after 10 months of waiting, I put in a request. I got a notice that BC Hydro wasn't going to support that device.
Oh, no.
And then last week, I discovered that they've got a device from another company that they're going to support.
Okay.
But it's not this current standard.
Right.
And it only supports the Amazon Echo as a hub. Well, that's useless to me. So
I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have some, I just had this conversation the other day, the smart meters, the smart breaker panels they're coming out with now. That's incredible. You can literally control your breaker panel from halfway across the world and see what your home is using and everything.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind if we were limited on what we could do with the solar because our panel is only 125 amp. So that was our done. And we were looking at another $3,000 to just change out the panel to a current one. And if we went to a smart one, It's not that much more. And if I wanted to add another circuit in the house, I have to replace my panel. So
Right.
at
Yeah.
this stage of the game, we've got everything we want. So I wasn't going
Yeah.
to go that way. But
Yeah.
certainly, if when we sell this place and somebody comes in, the first thing I'd be doing is looking at replacing that panel and putting in a smart panel. I saw it on this old house. They did a whole
Oh, yeah.
segment of smart panels.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. I'd
Oh,
love it. I'd
yeah.
love to have that technology.
Yeah. That's incredible. I mean, it sounds like, it's safe to say over the last year, you were happy you went solar.
I would use a little stronger term. I would say ecstatic.
Oh,
And
man.
even better, so is Susan.
Oh,
She's
yeah.
absolutely over the moon with what we've been able to do, and she
And
likes the energy savings, but she likes I keep telling her, every time I see the number tick up on the number of mature trees planted equivalency, oh, we're at 30, we're at 31, we're at 32, we're closing out the year at 120 mature
amazing.
trees. That's a mini forest.
Yeah.
I had
Well,
woodlots when I had a farm that weren't that big.
yeah, totally. That's the beautiful thing about going solar. And that's why it's booming right now, is because financially, as we've talked about, it makes so much sense. The
Yeah.
tech is super cool for the tech heads out there. And then, of course, yeah, the environment, the way climate change is going and our planet's warming up, it feels good to be doing your part and helping
Yeah.
plant those trees.
Yeah. Well, people said, well, you're not going to counter China. Well, I don't need to counter China. I just need to counter myself.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself, Jeff, honestly. And the sun that we've been getting here on Vancouver Island, it's good and bad, right? Because, my cedars are taking a real hit right now. But at the
Yeah.
same time, for solar production, it's great.
Well, the thing is, having the sun is good, but having the heat is not, because the panels are less efficient. Although we were maxed out every day pretty much, except for what, 3 days of rain. We went
Right.
164 days without rain, April through June. We had 3 millimeters of rain, and then we went over 100 days until sometime in August, where we got another
Yeah.
millimeter, and then the rains finally came while we were in Phoenix, and
Got it.
thank God for
You
that.
timed it well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you're bang on. Right now, this fall sunshine that Vancouver Island is seeing is absolutely perfect for production. So it's great.
Yeah. Well, we maxed out. Our best single day was 61.4 kilowatt hours of power, and we used 7. So the
Right.
rest was
Wow.
back to the grid. So the neighbors are benefiting from it too. So, and then
Yeah.
I tell them, I says, hey, we're on net metering. So what we don't use, you guys get to use. It's on the same line. So it goes to you guys
Yeah.
first.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Are you glued to the app, or have you, I've heard some people
I
the
was
first
for
week,
about
it's
the first,
every day.
I was glued for the first, hourly for the first several months.
Oh,
And
yeah.
then it was down to once a day. And now it's more like once a week because I've got a pretty good handle on it. Yeah.
Oh,
But
amazing.
when we have when I check the week, I'll see what my max was, and it's incredible the dramatic decrease once we went past the solstice.
Oh,
So our power production for about mid-May to mid-August was our max. We couldn't produce anymore. And then in August, it started to taper off a tiny bit, to like a kilowatt hour a day. It would drop a bit. And then on September 20th, 21st, 22nd, it dropped dramatically. So at the peak, and for 3.5 months, we were generating pretty much 60 to 61 kilowatt hours a day. And yesterday we had almost a perfect day, and it was 29 kilowatt hours.
right. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and
Interesting.
yeah, and because we have the baseboard heat on, we're using close to 30 now, where we were using 7 to 10 during the summer. So
Right.
right now we're actually drawing more from the grid than we're putting in.
Yeah.
but I've got
But you had that great summer, so
3,500 in the bank. So
yeah, so you're good. That's
yeah.
incredible. I mean, it doesn't sound like it, but just to be the devil's advocate and make sure we're covering everything. Any concerns? Anything? Any downsides? Like I said, just to cover it all.
Not that we've had in the last 13 months now. It's all been upside. The nice thing is with the system that you guys put in using the power optimizers as opposed to microinverters, just getting a little techie here, I can monitor the output of each panel. And they're all performing at 100%. It's interesting because of the way the roofs are and the shadows cast in the early morning, how some of the panels come up slower because they have a little bit of shade from the peak of the roof as the sun's coming up. So some of them get hit right away, and then slowly the other panels come online. I mean, it's over the course of about half an hour, but
right, yeah,
I can see the difference. And but as soon as the sun's hitting them all, they're all the same and
all lit up, nice and orange.
Yeah,
amazing.
And and in the app I can monitor each panel. So and I do that.
Yeah,
and
wonderful.
I can go back and look at the history of each panel through the day, and so I like to play with that stuff. So it's not everybody's Lollywick, but it is mine. So I'm having fun with it. So.
Amazing. How long does somebody have to spend with you before they know you have solar?
15 nanoseconds. Yeah, not much time. I'm all over it. Yeah.
Amazing. That's great. Well, hey, Jeff, thank you so much for taking the time to join the Solar PVcast today and give us your perspective. It's valuable.
Yeah.
And
it was a blast, and I really do encourage everyone to jump on board. I did get 3 estimates. Nobody touched shift. The guys, the installers, your crew is phenomenal. Doing the podcast with you, Chris, has been great. I've been having lots of fun with that. So I spent about an hour last night pulling all my numbers together for this. So
amazing. And then I appreciate it. We'll do this again. We'll do this again in maybe another year or a couple years, and we'll keep chatting because I love sharing this adventure with you.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. Thanksgiving is sort of our time frame there for figuring it out. So that'll be our sort of Thanksgiving. Got to talk to Jeff.
Yeah, totally. Amazing. Jeff, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
The Solar PVcast by Shift with Chris Palliser. To begin your solar journey, visit shift.ca.